Hey guys, just doing a little test here of the Dolphin emulator. Wanted to kind of try to see if it might be viable for doing any kind of Let's Plays. Rather than playing on the Wii U or the Wii itself. Just basically because with the emulator, you can go up to the actual 1080p versus the Wii's 480p, and the Wii U does upscale to 1080, but it's still rendering at the 480p, so it doesn't look as nice and crisp. And I mean, you can see just looking at this, like, it's gorgeous. This is a game that was originally developed for 480p, so you would think the art assets, the graphics, the textures, you would think that they would be really pixelated and ugly, but they're really not. I mean, when you get real close to them, yeah, you can see, like here on the shield, but otherwise, I mean, they still look gorgeous. And this is something that was kind of pervasive throughout all of the games on the Wii. Stutter there. Yeah, this is kind of pervasive throughout all the games on the Wii that they looked gorgeous. I mean, especially the Nintendo first-party games, because they have great art direction, and even re-rendering basically at this 1080p, it still looks fantastic. So, I would love for this to be a viable option to do, and it may still be at some point, but I've had some issues, some lockups and some things here, and I'll do a couple of other games here, just once I get through this little area. But yeah, I'm basically just I was kind of hoping that would be a place where I could use my sailcloth. Well, it's been a long time since I played this game, so I've forgotten basically every little bit about these things, about the getting into this temple. The aiming's seems like it's a little off too, like it's not going exactly to where the dot is. I think it's slightly to the left. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Could be that I'm sitting 2 feet away from the Wii, the receiver bar, well, the LED bar, IR bar, there you go, infrared. Could be that, could be, that it's just off slightly, due to the rendering, the 1080p, when it was really set up to be 480p. But it's not too bad. I mean, just have to recompensate basically is all. No big deal. So yeah, I'm actually using Wii Remote. I'm not using a game controller to emulate. I've got a IR bar. The remote's connected through Bluetooth, and it actually works really, really well. And that's kind of why I'm really hoping that this will be a viable option for me. I've tried Twilight Princess, which also looked fantastic, which was one of the really surprising ones for me, because the game itself, when it first came out, looking at it on the Wii, because it was originally developed for the GameCube, so you could already see that it was showing its age. But even that at 1080p looks really good. The textures are nice and crisp, and even the brownness of the game. Let's see if I can get him to take these little things off here. But yeah, even the brownness of the game is like not that big of a deal. Like it, because the... Are you kidding me? Yeah, even the brownness of the game, it looks nicer. Like when it's crisp and clean lines, the high resolution render, it doesn't look so muddy. Nice. But yeah, it doesn't look so muddy like it used to. So yeah, I'll cut some of that. Okay, so I think it would be great to be able to play some of that, and I'm not gonna make it across with these things. That's kind of shitty. When you think about it, they put this in here like you have to go this way, and they put this in here intentionally so that you have to fall at least this one time before you can get across. Like if you had the boomerang or something by now, that you could, take those things out no problem. You know what? I didn't even think to try to see if you could do the Skyward strike. Not too late now, but I'll have to try that out sometime. See if maybe a Skyward strike would knock them off, so that way you could be able to actually walk across there without having to fall off. That would be nice. Let's see if there's anything in the tree here. Excellent. Well, I'm full up on Deku Nuts, but that's okay. Oh, okay. Thank you for auto-correcting the aim. Bastard. So yeah, the game. God, seriously, this is. I would love to play through these games at the 1080p, and I was really disappointed when the Wii U came out and it had the Wii mode, but they didn't actually set the Wii mode to render out at 1080p. Because I'm not sure if the Wii U actually has the original Wii hardware in it when it switches to that mode, kind of like the original Wii had the original GameCube hardware in it. So when you put a GameCube game in, it actually became a GameCube. I think the Wii U, the CPU and the GPU that are in the Wii U, I think they're just an upgraded version in the same family. So I think the Wii mode on the Wii U, I think that it is actually using the same hardware as the Wii U. It's just it's processing all the Wii commands. And if that is the case, I need to see a teardown to see if that is true. I don't know for certain if it is or not. But if that is the case, they could essentially, because the Wii U at that point is just a software operating system that it switches to, they could switch it to render out at 1080p and do all these games instead of just doing a simple 480p render, upscaling it to 1080p, which I mean, it looks nice, but it's still, you still see all the pixelation and everything. They could render it out at 1080p, I would think. I need to check on that. I'm curious now. I'll have to look that up after I get through with this. Hey, there we are. Just trying to sprint. Oh well. Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna go get into the temple here, and because I've actually been playing for the last hour or so, hour and a half maybe. Just going through doing all this stuff, and it's been playing really great. At first, when I started it, I had the Dolphin emulator set to do OpenGL, because most of the games seem to work better with OpenGL versus DirectX 11. Except for this one, though, it did not. It was always going way choppy. Playable, but way choppy. Well, I say, God, I'm stuck. I wouldn't say playable, like I wouldn't want to get into a battle, you know, or go through a dungeon with it, because it would start chopping at the weirdest moments, random times. So I went ahead and switched it to DirectX 11, basically where I started this video at. I saved it, quit, and then switched over to DirectX 11 and came back in, and this is playing beautifully. So I think this one will definitely be playable. I know Twilight Princess would be playable. I spent some time yesterday testing out Metroid, the Metroid Prime Trilogy, Other M, Super Mario Galaxy, and Super Mario Galaxy 2. And Super Mario Galaxy, I'll probably show that one later. Super Mario Galaxy is so far not playable. I mean, the intro and everything is fine. Getting into the game, it's for some reason the movie that plays where Bowser's his little ship comes in, and it cuts the castle out to lift it up and take it into the galaxy. It locks up every time, and I don't know why. And yeah, and that was another thing that really surprised me, actually, because, you know, it's using the same assets as the in-game models, but since it's pre-rendered, which playing it on the Wii, I never knew it was pre-rendered. I thought it was rendered in-game. Oh, you bastard. Yeah, I thought it was rendered in-game. You know, I didn't know that it was pre-rendered. But now seeing it on here, you see the in-game models in 1080p, and then all of a sudden it switches over to the 480 for the... Nice. Ooh. Okay. So yeah, you see the what's it called? The in-game models, nice and pretty, and then the 480p video, it's a little jarring, but I guess I didn't realize that. Actually, let me cut some of that. Yeah, so I guess I didn't realize, what was I talking about? The Super Mario, Galaxy video. That they could probably do that whole sequence in in-game model, and I believe if they had done it in the in-game model, because they did it in Super Mario Galaxy 2, and I think if they had done the cutscene in the in-game models, that I would actually be able to get past the cutscenes. But it locks up on this one, so if I can figure out a way to get past that, maybe bring in a save file that's just past it, then the game might be playable. Because otherwise it runs fine. A little bit of slowdown during the actual battle, like all the stuff crashing in and stuff, but otherwise, it looks great. Okay, I think I'll save. Yeah, I can save there. Okay. I think I'll save this and maybe throw in some Metroid Prime. And I will be right back. Okay. Actually had to stop this once and come back in, switch back over, because Skyward Sword has one configuration that it likes to have, and I don't think that Metroid liked that same configuration. It was running choppy, which it wasn't running choppy at all when I was playing some yesterday. So this is take 2. But yeah, so basically on this one, I'm still getting used to the first person. I had a little chop there that I wanted to get rid of. You probably didn't notice it. I was hearing the audio was kind of choppy sounding. But yeah, so I've just played through the frigate area, and got to the first save station right before the battle with the Parasite Queen. And yeah, I figure I'll go ahead and do that, do the escape sequence, and maybe wrong button. Do the get down to Talon surface and save it and throw in something else. So yeah. I'm keep hitting the wrong button there. I was trying to go into scan mode. Don't know why I was trying that from the Morphball, but I was trying to go to the scan visor and hit the home button by accident, because it's minus for the Trilogy version. So yeah, I'm still kind of getting used to the lock-on free aim. I'm doing the advanced aiming, which is what I did in Prime 3 Corruption. But it's so, because they added that. Ooh, there's some chop. Oh man, that's looking bad. Okay, that's not good. See if that helps. It's still kind of choppy. Okay, that's better. Hopefully it'll stay that way throughout the fight. She may be a tough one with if it's all choppy and slow. Anyway, so yeah, I'm still getting used to, because the first 2 games were set up for the GameCube. They were on the GameCube, so they were set up for the GameCube controller. And so yeah, they're intended to lock on, and on the GameCube controller, when you locked on, your pointer is locked on. Now you can actually, oh, shit. Aha. There we go. Yeah, this is choppy. I probably should have turned on the FPS counter to see what kind of frames this is getting. There we go. think a couple more shots, one more. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's right, they added achievements to these games. Alright, so we'll try the escape sequence here. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm still getting used to the lock-on free aim in these games, because like I said, with the GameCube controller, when you locked on, you were always pointed at what you were locked on at. Anything to scan? No? Okay. I'm obsessive about scanning everything. Which if I do a Let's Play, I will try to not be so obsessive about it. Where'd my jump? There we are. I will try not to be so obsessive about it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there. I don't know why. I know I have plenty of time to do all this, but I still get panicked every time. It's that countdown, that panic sound. Let's disable those turrets. And why? Just gotta scan. Okay, these. Yes, choppy there too. So yes, you can see where my target is locked, but my pointer I can move around and still get a little disoriented with that. Like, because corruption... Oh, nice. Corruption, you know, it was set up like that from the beginning. So it was actually, you know, the actual whole game is made for that. Whereas these first two, they're not quite right feeling. Ooh. Choppy chop. Oh god, I hate these things. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, little choppy chop, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, so they're not quite set up properly for the lock-and free aim. I'm getting kind of used to it though, and it could also be a result of, again, me being 2 feet from the thing. That may just be super sensitive, and I'm not used to that. I need to try to set this thing up. Uh-oh. Okay, next game. And we're back. So, yeah, little lock up there on Metroid Prime. I had gotten through that whole thing without having any problems, so I'm wondering if that's a lock-up area, or if that is just something that I was moving too rapidly, and just the nature of emulation not being quite perfect. So could have been a screw up. With this game, I've had trouble with this little intro sequence. Like, I'll hit the A button to skip, and it'll lock up randomly. But then I restart the game, and it goes through fine. She'd like to give you something. What could it be? Maybe a cake? I don't know. It's always a cake. So yeah, so this is beautiful. Plays fine. And all through this, you know, kind of plays fine. I was actually... Oop, what? Got all turned around. I was actually, when I first started testing these out, I was running at 4 times the internal resolution. So it was like 2560 by 2112 or something like that. and then that scales down to 1080p. There's a little bit of slowdown here. This is... I wonder why it's slowing down, because this was playing fine yesterday. Once I switched to 3 times the internal resolution instead of 4 times. So now it's 1920 by 1536 or something like that. And then, of course, you know, being cropped and everything to 1080p. The audio sounds great. This was all like choppy and stuff, and see, you can see where it's the 480p video. It's just weird. It looks so out of place now with the rest of the game looking so good. But yeah, the audio on this was all like popping. So I don't know what changed here. Whatever changed with the video itself, or the game itself having some slowdowns that weren't there yesterday either, so this is odd. But anyways, getting up kind of close to the lockup point here. What I'll probably do is just stop that once it locks up and pick up this voiceover and continue on, maybe rerun these things in the background or something, I don't know, because oh wow, it's already getting almost 30 minutes. I don't know. So yeah, so this is some slowdown. This was slowing down yesterday here too, just because there's so much stuff going on, so that may be kind of hard to play. But the 3 times internal resolution seems to do okay for most part, and it's still, you know, at least 1080p native without having to upscale anything. Ooh. Okay, so here's where it locks up every time. Without fail. Yep. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's, you know, that's the emulator. That's the Dolphin emulator. When it works great. And the games look beautiful, and I would really like to actually play them, do a full playthrough of them. I'm thinking at the moment what I will probably end up doing is just playing the games on the Wii U, even though it won't look as nice. It'll at least be guaranteed that it'll, you know, it's 100% it's going to work. And I won't have to worry about random lockups and things like that. But I'll keep testing out the Dolphin emulator and see if it's, see if any improvements get made to it. I don't know how many more improvements could be made or would be made, because they haven't had a new stable build since 2013, I think. Which is a little sad. I may check the either GitHub or Google Code page, whichever one it is, to see if there's anything new that's not in the stable branch that maybe has improved some of these things. I am using the 4.0 version, or 4.0.2 or whatever it is, and I have no idea what the build number is, but it's whatever the newest one. When you go to dolphin-emulator.com, I think .com, is it .com? Dolphin Emulator.com, yes. dolphinemulator.com, whichever one it is that downloads from there. That's the version that I have, the latest, the 4.0. I also tried the 3.5, just to see if it, made any difference. There was some, checking particularly there with Super Mario Galaxy. Playing on 3.5, there was some suggestion that it would work there, but it locks up on 4.0. But it did the same thing, locked up on 3.5 even, so... and 4.0 has more options, more refinements and things like that, so it makes for an overall better experience. So I would, if I'm going to do anything, I would stick with the 4.0, and I'll just see if there's any nightlies or anything like that that maybe have some new improvements that aren't in this one that you get from the website. So I may do a part 2 of this test and redo these games and see if they have any improvements. Oh, I'm about to burp. But yeah, what I have seen of this, I've been really impressed. I have been really impressed. When I was playing a little bit of Metroid Prime, I played it 4 times internal resolution and held pretty steady at about 60 frames a second through almost everything. The very beginning intro where your ship is flying into the frigate, when it pans out to show the whole frigate, that kind of drops down to around 30 frames a second, and it gets real choppy at that point. But then when you jump out of the ship and you're on the frigate itself, on the docking platform, it goes back up to 50-60 frames a second. So it was nice and smooth. And I was hoping that going down to the 3 times internal resolution would speed that up a little more, but I was kind of worrying with that fight with the Parasite Queen. I don't know, just take some more testing. And the problem is, even if I get a better video card, it's not really going to help, because I don't think it's the video card that's causing the problems. I think it's the CPU. Just nature of emulation. You're having one CPU, the Intel CPU, that is kind of translating the instructions that would be going to the Motorola or IBM CPU that was in the Wii, and it's basically having to take those instructions, translate them into something that the Intel can understand, and then sending those instructions through to Dolphin to tell it how to play the Wii code. And I'm really impressed with how well it handles, to be honest. And I would bet that if I could have maybe 2 times internal or even 1 times internal, but if I'm going to do 1 times internal, might as well just do it on the Wii U anyways, because that's native resolution. But if I do 2 times internal resolution, then I believe that was 1280 by something, so it would look a lot better, but still not 1080p. And I really want to get the 1080p, and I think that's kind of my problem. If I'm going to do the emulator, I want it to look as nice as possible. And it's just, the Wii is just a little too new, and the emulator's got a little more room to grow to get just right. I mean, I know there's a lot of similarities between the Wii and the GameCube hardware, and Dolphin was originally a GameCube emulator, and they added on the Wii emulation because of the hardware being so similar. But even though it is similar, it's still the next generation up from the GameCube hardware. So there's some more processing power that's going to need to be involved. And I think the only way that I'm going to get, I think, really smooth 1080p play for everything will be a new processor. And you know, I'm not ready to upgrade that just yet. Particularly not for a game, you know, or not for an emulator. I would, if it was a bottleneck in anything else that I was doing, then yes. But for an emulator, for a game, no, it's not. It's not going to be worth upgrading. Okay, I should probably wrap this up. But yeah, so. You know, I'm like I said, I'm still going to keep evaluating it, and if some of the nightly builds, if they do even better, you know, if they don't lock up in those places, or if they have an even better emulation, smoother, then I may play some of these games through the emulator. But where it stands right now, if I do any kind of let's play with them, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be on the Wii U, and just do it, you know, recording through the Elgato, like I've been doing Hyrule Warriors and stuff, just so that I can ensure that it's going to be a smooth experience, even if it's not, you know, nice and crisp 1080p. So, but that's it, guys. I am going to end this here, and squeaky chair. Yeah, we'll catch you next time, and hopefully I'll find, like I said, hopefully a nightly build or something will do much better, and maybe come back with some good news doing version 2 of this test, and see if we can actually get past some of this stuff. So, yep, anyways, that's it for me, and I will catch you guys later.